Well, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says that she rejected President Trump's offer to send U.S. troops to Mexico to fight the drug cartels.
Now, what is this about? Because nobody really believes that Mexico's got this. They clearly don't have a handle on cartel violence. The cartel is well embedded into the Mexican government. So why would they not want this? Is it just as simple as they can't fight the cartel? Or do they know that the U.S. track record of getting involved in foreign conflicts is not good? Both things are valid, right? Todd Bensman is from the Center for Immigration Studies, and he joins us to explain this. Thank you so much for joining us. Why do you think that the Mexican government is posturing so much that they don't need the U.S. military?
Because Mexico has a long, in their view, sorry history with U.S. military interventions that has kind of permeated the basic political culture of the country. You know, the big bad gringos coming in here with military, punitive expeditions, lots of bad history, wars, all the way to Monterrey, Mexico. And this is, to this day, a very sensitive topic for Mexico when it comes to their domestic politics. The problem is for them is that now they've got Donald Trump to contend with, and Trump is rattling the sabers. And he's not just rattling the sabers, he's got a lot of sabers all around the country now. He spent the first 3 months just setting the table for U.S. military intervention, unilateral military intervention. He wants the fentanyl stopped. He wants that all shut down. He wants the Mexican drug cartels severely wounded, if not mortally wounded. He wants to strike at them. And he probably realizes that the Mexican government is in bed with the Mexican cartels and always has been in bed with the Mexican cartels. Right. To the extent that the Mexican military has ever done much of anything, especially in any kind of recent years, the last 15 years, it's kind of dog and pony show stuff. It's hugs, not bullets was actually the name of their official policy. I'm not making that up. That's their name.
Yes.
Hugs, not bullets. Yeah. And Trump wants to make it bullets, not hugs. And he's made that clear. And if they don't make it bullets, not hugs for real, I think Trump will actually strike militarily and unilaterally at those cartels. I think he wants to. I think he's aching to do it.
Well, let me just go on record in saying, because there's a lot of I don't know where you come down on this, and I'm not calling you this at all, but there's a lot of warmongers and neocons and nut jobs that I can't stand who are pushing us, want to go to war with Russia. They want us to go to war with Iran. I don't have any tolerance for those people. However, this is, to me, the greatest threat to the United States. Right here, right now, right on our border is what these cartels are doing and the cartel violence that's poured into the United States of America. This is a clear and present danger. Colonel McGregor has said it. Get our troops out of the Mideast, put them on our U.S. border, get them here to protect the United States of America. And President Trump has said that Mexico has to be doing more to combat these gangs and cartels. Otherwise, we're going to step in. Are they doing more to stop the drugs and the cartels? Well,
in fairness, they are. The Mexicans have actually gone kinetic against the cartels and the fentanyl-producing hubs, primarily in Culiacan, which is Sinaloa State down there. You can look it up on Google. That's where most of the fentanyl got produced and is shipped into the United States over the borders. Well, Trump said 25% tariffs unless you put a stop to that. And it has been nonstop raiding and arresting, blowing stuff up, dismantling labs all over Culiacan. And wow. the fentanyl seizures coming across the U.S. with more troops, with more Border Patrol available to look for it and interdict it, is down 50% from where it was at this same period of time last year. So it appears as though they're having some effect. Now, I interviewed recently Derek Maltz, who's the acting head of DEA. Had him on the phone, and I asked him what was going on down there, and he said, "Well, the cartels have decided that fentanyl is just too hot of a product, and they have made a strategic business decision because of the pressure Trump is putting on to stop trafficking it over the U.S. border and to send it to Europe instead."
Oh, geez.
So we'll see if that actually turns out to be the case. They're still picking up fentanyl. We're still finding it. There's still stuff coming over the border, but the Trump pressure campaign on Mexico, even in light of that, even in light of the Mexican effort to shut down the illegal immigration on their side of the border, it's still not enough. That's why I say I think Trump may be aching to go unilateral here. One quick thing, well, I don't know how quick it is, but when I say the administration is setting the table for something, what I mean by that is that they are doing unprecedented numbers of spy flights over Mexico, which means they are mapping targets.
Oh.
They have shifted CIA personnel from Ukraine and the Middle East into Mexico to do counter narcotics work. They have put 3 destroyers off the coast of the Pacific in the lanes for Mexico in international waters with Coast Guard contingents aboard that can pop off on dinghies and zoom over and do operations. They have put warships also on the Gulf of America. They have put the 10th Mountain Division, which is just a badass storied unit in Arizona and New Mexico. And they put striker brigades, those big 8-wheeled, 15-ton monstrosities loaded with all kinds of weaponry, machine guns and surveillance technology and everything else in Texas, New Mexico, and everywhere else. So it looks like if Trump administration, which by the way has been reported in the Washington Post as saying that they are having meetings about unilaterally doing drone strikes against the cartels in Mexico with or without Mexican knowledge or assistance, then all of that armor and hardware bracketing Mexico will be there in case they try to strike back.
This is huge. I just want to clarify.
My jaw's on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you're breaking some big news here, Todd, and I think
Just
arguably no one knows.
Together.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows more about this than you. So you're saying that a lot of the CIA that were focused on Ukraine have been repositioned in Mexico now, carrying out spy flights, identifying cartel targets, basically ready to go. So everything is like lined up and ready to go. Did I hear you correctly?
And if you think about, if I can just piggyback that question, think about what we need to go to war with Afghanistan is we need allies in and around that region so we can launch from those places. We would not have to do that if, in fact, there is a path forward to going to war with the cartels. That's wild.
Yeah. And by the way, this isn't, I'm not getting this from secret sources or anything. I'm just following the public dots that are already out there. It was the Washington Post that reported about the transfer of CIA officers from other regions into Mexico. It's been the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal reporting about the spy flights. The striker brigades, that's all you can read all about that in the Stars and Stripes and Military Times. It's all out there, but it's unprecedented, the things that they're doing. I mean, these are hardcore light infantry ground units that they're deploying to a border that has no illegal immigrants crossing right now. And people are starting to say, well, why are you doing that? There's no illegal immigrants crossing. And the answer is silence. And I can read into the silence about why they're putting these heavy-duty combat units on our border, and it's to deter retaliation. against whatever they've got going. That's my guess. It's a speculative guess.
I heard about these spy flights. I had missed that CIA in that Washington Post piece had been repositioned from Ukraine to carry this out. I guess, Todd, we'll get you out of here on this. You talked a little bit about how it's been affecting right now in the United States on the fentanyl side. How many border crossings? We hear the numbers from the Trump administration on border crossings, and let's include Canada in this mix as well. What is your assessment of where things stand right now? Illegals coming into the United States. We had to stop the bleeding. Has the bleeding stopped?
Yes, the bleeding has stopped. The mass migration crisis of the last 4 years is over. And I officially declared that in a column back in January after going down there. And I've been down there on both sides of the border twice since Trump came into office. It's over, folks. It just ended in about an hour. It took about 1 hour, not a big Senate bill. It just took a will to use the existing tools provided by Congress in statute in the law, which is detain and deport everybody that you catch. It's that simple. Stop letting everybody in. It was that simple. They turned the switch. Now, we still have about 250 to 300 a day crossing border wide, but that compares to 14,000 a day at the height of this thing, and 8, 9, 10, 12,000 a day for months and months and years. And all of those, most of all of those were allowed in. But the 250 to 300 a day we're getting now are all being returned. I saw Homan or somebody recently went public and said, we did release 9. They released 9. I'd like to know why they released even those 9. They kind of got my curiosity. Like, well, okay, you released 9. Like, what's special about those 9? Remind me to look into that. But like 9.
I have that somewhere. It was like, I can't remember. I can find it in my notes. Go ahead. I remember that 9 number from recent. Yeah.
But if you're not letting anyone in and you're catching everybody, and by the way, they're not only catching they're not only aggressively hunting them, and detaining and deporting them. They're also referring thousands of those that they catch for prosecution, federal prosecution. This is not very widely known. This part of what the Trump administration is doing under INA 1325 and 1326. These are prosecutions in the federal criminal courts that can get a first-time offender about 6 months in prison. But if you do it again, it's a 1326, and you can get up to 20 years, especially if you have any sort of criminal history on you. So you could get 10 years. You could get a lot of prison time if you're crossing, and they're doing that, and then they serve their time, and then they send them home. Well, that kind of activity on this side spreads all around the world, and nobody wants to spend the smuggling money to get that. That's what they get, a jail term, or else a deportation, and they're broke and in debt. That's the whole game right there, and that's why the numbers are ridiculously low. And by the way, one last thing. There is this category, a very dangerous category called gotaways. You probably have heard about it.
Yes.
During the Biden administration, 2.4 million at least, that's an undercount, got away into the interior. Nobody ever laid hands on them. They just got a picture of them from a blimp or a game camera or something, or somebody spotted their footprints and they get counted. So it's probably an undercount. Well, today it looks like the number, we have whole days and weeks that go by without a single gotaway, no runners at all. And that's a high concentration of criminal aliens that would want to run into the country and try to escape and get away. They usually have to pay smugglers a lot of money to do that. Well, the smuggling fees have just gone through the roof. Because the risk against the smugglers, who all get prosecuted to the highest nth of the law that we can prosecute them for, don't want to smuggle them in anymore. It's not worth it. So they're hiking their prices to make up for the risk, and nobody can afford the prices except the richest of the rich. So there you go. It's like every category is just doing really great.
All right. I found it in my notes. Those 9, 8 of them were material witnesses in criminal cases.
There you go.
And one was a medical emergency.
Yeah.
I found it. Sorry, it was bothering me because I had just looked into this, and it was in early April that he said that. You're right. Do you have another question?
No, I was just going to make a statement and thank Todd. My point is that what you just said there at the end underscores how this was treason by the Biden administration. I mean, you write about it in your book, Overrun, that this was calculated. The fact that with what Trump is able to do in just a short amount of time shows you that it was criminal negligence on the part of in the Biden administration. But beyond that, it was intentional, and it was brought to bring America to its knees. All of the things you just labeled there, you cut off their money, you cut off their supply, you make it incredibly dangerous for them to do it, and you stop the bleeding, and you could do it within a few weeks, and the Biden administration chose not to do it. They did the opposite.
Right. So, and they bamboozled the American public about, there's just an inevitability about this. We just can't do anything. We're powerless against this. We need a big Senate bill. If only Trump hadn't killed that Senate bill. Remember all that? Yeah. We need comprehensive immigration reform. We have a broken immigration system. We've got to fix all of that. The root causes. We got to rebuild the nations of Central America so they don't want to come here anymore after 30 years. A big Marshall Plan or something.
Right.
All of that is just exposed absolutely with brilliant white light, sunlight, as total BS. None of that was ever true. The only thing that stands unscathed is this policy of catch, detain, deport. End of story.
Yeah, now it's happening to Europe. So the delusion, and now you tell us fentanyl is going to Europe. This is going to be a bad situation for the Europeans. Todd, great to see you. Thank you so much for your expertise on this. Really fascinating. Thank you,
for
Todd.
having me.
And thank you for your great work as well.